it's an Ivalice game, and there are two kinds of Ivalice games. There are the Yasumi Matsuno directed, hardcore, like
Vagrant Story,
very serious,
FFT.
very solemn Final Fantasy XII. And then there's like the fun, happy Ivalice stories like Final Fantasy Tactics Advance and A2. And this is definitely in the fun, happy side.
Right.
I mean, the director is Motomo Toriyama, who directed Final Fantasy X-2, and it feels like its relation to Final Fantasy XII is the same as X-2's relation to Final Fantasy X. It's a spin-off, it's about secondary characters. I mean, Vaughn was technically the main character of 12, but not really.
I mean, and the tone is very light.
It's broken into a mission structure. Yeah, it kind of has the same gameplay mechanics, the gambits and everything as 12, but it's greatly simplified. It works differently, but you kind of get where it's coming from.
For a strategy game, something positioned as a strategy game, there's no strategy, like at all.
But it's not really positioned as a strategy game. That's the thing. Square couldn't really decide how to position it. It was described as it was described as an RPG, then as an action RPG. They never actually used the term strategy because I don't think Japan really knows what an RTS is.
Yeah, you can't
they're not
market
known
that stuff to Japan anyway.
Yeah, they're not known for making RTSs.
Yeah, it's more of a my first RTS because it is simplified, and I don't think it's a perfect game. I like it more than you, but the problem is later in the game when it becomes more difficult. It's difficult to micromanage your units. It's really hard to group people where you want to group them, to send them where you want to send them. It's a better strategy just to spam out lots of units.
Actually, what I found is that approaching this like an RTS, where you have lots of individual units that you're controlling, is a mistake.
Right.
You should really approach it like you've got 5 characters. It's an RPG where you have 5 characters, and they have a lot of little dudes who walk around with them.
That are expendable.
So, yeah, so you basically, it's like support or something. You know, whichever their strongest
there is a little bit of a Pokemon, like, rock, paper, scissors deal going on with the enemy types. And, like, that's normal.
Hardly Pokemon. I mean, that's pretty common to RTS. You have aerial units that are strong against ground but weak against ranged.
But I think, this game isn't going after the RTS crowd. This isn't for people who play Supreme Commander. It's for people who grew up playing Final Fantasy and Pokemon. And I think they will find those touchstones and be able to like this game and play through it and enjoy it.
If you see it in that light, then it works. If you go into it thinking, hey, it's an RTS, then you're gonna be so sad.
Of the three of us, I'm probably not the biggest fan of 12. I respect it, but I didn't have a lot of fun with it. Oh yeah, right. But I think if you were a serious 12 fan, you might be disappointed by the tone, by the dialogue, by the characters, because they're really kiddie. I mean, there is a kid on a hoverboard.
They are literally kids.
Did
like 11 and 12
FF12 need a little kid on a hoverboard?
Not necessarily, but it does work better because Vaughn actually is the main character this time, and Vaughn is kind of an idiot. He's kind of stupid and
Vaughn
kind of
Penelope,
immature.
they're just kind of goofy kids.
Penelo was actually more like.
Well, comparatively,
she was a lot more mature. She was just inexperienced and kind of young.
But yeah, the tone is very lighthearted.
Yeah.
Wacky kids on a big adventure. It is. It's very traditional Japanese RPG. Well, so we disagree about the combat and about the story, but we can all agree that the graphics and the presentation are among the best on DS. Like, the cutscenes are really good. There's a lot of them.
No, the FMVs I don't like, but I think the game itself, there's a lot of really detailed sprite work, and it zooms in and out, so sometimes it's kind of pixelated, but if you actually pay attention to the animation, there's a lot of characters in the game, and all of them have a lot of animations. But yeah, and I do like the fact that this has a lot of... It carries over a lot of Final Fantasy XII elements, like the gambits and the summons,
But they're gambits in name only, really. I mean, it's just a macro.
And what do they call the license board thing? It's not a license board. It's just how you get your summons now. But it's similar to license board. It's a very similar system,
Yeah.
I think that even though it's limited, that kind of works in its favor because the DS doesn't have enough screen resolution, doesn't have enough power to really pull off a true full-scale RTS. I think the game works well for the hardware, and ultimately that's kind of what it's got to do. So that's fine.
I mean, I think my final takeaway was that this is a pretty good FF game for DS. It's not perfect, but it's a good template, and I would like to see a sequel because I think if they fixed a lot of the little problems and added a multiplayer mode, this could be something really great in the future.
I wholeheartely agree.
You do?
I do.
You don't want to cancel the series because you hate it so much?
No, I'm an optimistic sort. No, let's try it again. Sure, why not?
We'll give it a second shot.
I sure would.
So I think I propose a toast with Final Fantasy Potion to.
This is a 2004 vintage.
This is the 2006 vintage. I've been saving it for a special occasion.
And I gotta say the flavors sound pretty exciting. There's a lot of different herbs in here.
Sweet.
Something called Melissa, thyme, sage, royal jelly.
It's mouthwash.
Prometheus elixir.
Absolutely.
Oh, what the?
Right? Yes. Celebrate.
I gotta
Celebrate
say,
the moments of your life.
this looks like the fluoride rinse they gave you in like first grade. The
Yep.
whole class had to swish and spit.
Do I get a wafer too?
No.
I don't have any wafers. I have some cookies.
So toast to the Ivalus Alliance.
To Yasumi Matsuno being still alive.
Whoa.
Nah.
It tastes like Flintstone vitamins.